Odem Premo ato Ghana man adeshemai memo bibiara aha Zeba area be prem tobeka siebo wo big family radio kasa efrido embrono aso de ensam awodro yensaka na ya boabo no mejeber na deje na medebosmo ende area bri wo kasa efri yido ende eye ebnada January bosom na da otodo oye edu anan wo afi apimebien na eduenu enomu ensam no dosu ye pa nemom za odimu akoten ebi ene day ende da ena abadwekufu watna se wototo mpanyinfa omampanyin mahama apamone day womba ya soafo enfama ne ama embu enemu Damara so yeko ensanfu fruma yera keza lato forson akasa na nesmol kenainde 11 day nyame ya dom moba aben mu no ninde fopopo ohane edwene mu no obohwe na weyi efiwo Damara so ena yera abu jinapo oye John jinapo ono wakase ose insha wudu de biegu akwenma tema oye refinery no wobohwe wahye mukina wasan ejina nenando biom wo ensambu from so Dr. Keza lato force ne create na kasa chem de oye to boot sesie no oni wobiom no obasan ahwe na wodi ababiom Dumedina se ena yera Alexander afanyo Mackenzie were nyim da Ghana bebrianko school in the 24-hour economy yakin ocheden chirase ensam no ebinime keyi ena ya bone bedo mazabosum de ewiabe pram tobeka siebo wo big family radio kasa efrido make out them Abusua kase Akan Kasebo oye Big Family Multimedia Institute BFM Store Trustees Network Group and wobo mechidom ende ewiabri mamaza nsami made esomo ende ewiabri Akin Kenya watamanka ezin a mejedo aranyana ejata Kabana, Dodona from Eja Takoko school time was porcupine. Afe Jebre na manfa and samano ninchemu emo. Ghana manpahin yera or manpahin Yohani Dramani Mahama. Ended the Juade on a steering committee Abedukua wano wawa National House of Chief on one issue na inshewuno ni nine de on one kasa ache kwanya bafada afi na membo bobuno odi mpuntu agodroba bra on my Ghana na ni shemuno kasa na ochem dem ebe wa be nenwa agiye pa na ni nine de se wo benya sabi obenya nsan nyim dika bi efi na nan matsan konyo wono so nti ena aka ho em wo hye ho no o pay Mahama sanso kasa na ochem dem dam steering committee ya we hye woni ni nine de or one or ben nkrata o yeto abewie yedi nkunyimi yemba mo otirin kwanti apede be na be mo otirin kwan sese ebe yende ena o pay Mahama si sese amenu kese de Flagstaff House wono oyare yesesi o ye renovation wo enti prempen gide yehia ewo Accra International Conference Center ampani ampa ayenfo ahodo enyina wokohiem ewo Accra International Conference Center woni omampanyin Mahama okupoemu ewo ho eho na omampanyin Mahama kasa na ochem dem sisi ade mende hia ahodo gu akwem mohwe na mpuntu dwuma de medi aebi abro man Ghana na menwa asopa de wono so wetu mebo pemu manana asi ha na wa ba abobua na wa metin kon today na afen so afoto ahodo wodemam ewo abra ye boto aba wa afi apimebe ne dunu anano mobo montoa ewo mantom ahodo ne minam no afoto wodemam ni ano so meginamu na mede aseda amawan
security briefings I've got after December 7th. The issue of chieftaincy disputes has become a major issue. Anytime a chief passes away and a new chief has to be selected, invariably 2 rival chiefs or 3 rival chiefs suddenly appear. In the 1992 Constitution, it was decided from the unpleasant experiences of the past where government used to interfere in chieftaincy matters to leave the issue of chieftaincy completely to the chiefs themselves. That is the National House of Chiefs and the regional houses of chiefs. But then I do think that there are issues that come up, especially with the selection of new chiefs that creates security crisis. And so when law and order breaks down, government is called in to protect the peace. And so I think that we must work with you to see how we can prevent this from happening. I remember that at a point it was decided that there should be a codification of the lines of succession. I don't know how far that project has gone, but it looks like the issue of disputes is becoming even worse by the day than it was before this codification took place. And so that's an issue that I think we should look at. As I said, we intend to hold a constitutional review validation conference, and at that conference the intention is to put the work of the Fiajo committee, which was the initial work that was commissioned by President Atta Mills, and then also the work that was done by the Chambers Abusua committee under the commission of President Nana Akufo-Addo, and put all those on the table so that we see what is still relevant in terms of amending our constitution and what is no longer relevant. As you operate under a constitution, you find some loopholes and things that were not completely anticipated. And so for every country, after a while, there might become the necessity to make amendments to a constitution. And I just give the example of the impasse between Parliament and the Supreme Court as to who has the mandate to declare seats vacant and all that. And so if we're looking at the constitution again, that's one of the areas we should look and tighten so that it makes it clear who has the constitutional mandate to do what. There might be other issues like that that we need to look at. There are various issues that I think that if we amend, it would make our constitution more of a living document than it is currently. We've operated under it since 1992.
Abusua na ya tuwado na ene de kuriya so Ghana man penyin Yero Yohani Dramani Mahama one oye independent power producers for on one eshie na ne nyina eyenhye ahodoa wode bugu akwemu na waboa amanye ne enam kane ho nsam wetum wagina brane ewo oman Ghana ha na abra oman penyin Mahama ne independent power producers for no ono ne hie no eno kas na ochem dem wenwu zoro kodu bia oho na tete ne nkwadanda wonne mu bia no nenye tuemu ya Ghana filigado ochi ohun pa na se ya wodo bi odbugu akwem aboa na wetum esodam oho na no obohwe na waye na wetum esodam oho na no pa osane ye nenam kane ho nsam ne de mesmotin onkoye kra owe na ochem dem na adwene yina ejina kwan ba fada obosodam oho na no na afenso waboa amma oye independent power producers from wone adwuma waye no tuma akoye pa ase wa afi apime bien ena ediba afi apime du mie bien 2012 no modere ban ansana Ghana gbato aba ezetien na wetwe ne tam no megu no ase na ban mu no na owodwumedi bia all the bay oye energy sector levy oye levy bia na sikapudro bia yetua na nka obodu soso ohaw bi ano ebene yinam kane wonsam da na so de meka wo be de me ade wo be yifuo meze se wa meka pudro bi pa eno abesensan oman Ghana ye no kwemu enti shawodo bi obeye aboa na wa ma Ghana ye ne yinam kane wonsam no wetum agina bana no obohwe waye na wetum agina ye pa ose afi apema bi ne de no ebien oye annual energy sector levy act what the beno ni na ye bibia nka wo obi nyisika fim na woda aboa esanye ne enam kanya wonsam do na so ni na no wo yifiwo.
I thought that it was important for me to meet you as president and tell you that I care about your concerns and what you're going through, and to say that we're going to work together with you to see how we can resolve the issues in the power sector. The first thing is for us to deal with the issue of the value chain, the whole power value chain. And that means that we must start from the downstream all the way upstream. There are issues to do with availability of gas, and so that's upstream, how we get the companies in that space to increase exploration and bring on more gas so that we eliminate the use of fossil fuels and achieve our dream of gas to power 100%, which will bring down the cost of generation. That's the first thing. And the next is to see how we can bring more efficiency in terms of your sector and the production of power so that we can pass on any benefits to the Ghanaian people. But obviously, the bull in a china shop is Electricity Company of Ghana, the sick man of the power sector. I mean, you can't run an electricity utility and make 40% commercial and technical losses and continue to think that you have a viable business. And so something must give in that sector, and that's why I've said that we are looking at introducing private sector participation. If you remember, under the Millennium Challenge Compact, we had agreed that in the last portion of the distribution, billing, and metering, we're going to introduce private sector participation. And so I remember I signed the contract eventually, the compact, and we started the whole process with improving the national grid with the bulk supply points, the BSPs and all that. But there was also a component for private sector participation in billing and metering. And so the new government took over, and that's when the whole PDS saga happened. Even as irregular as PDS was and as inefficient as it was, I mean, when PDS came, you could see an increase in the revenue that was being collected. And so if we do it more transparently, more fairly, more competitively, I'm sure that we'll get an efficient partner to join us in terms of billing and metering so that we can eliminate the huge losses that ECG is making. And so we're willing to take the bull by the horns and reform that sector of it, and also reform the governance in ECG so that it's running more efficiently than it does currently.
Yamfa yenwan tra nsam fofromo ene da ena ekopo mu wa manga ne embreche bedwomufia wode oye e-levy ho ensansan na ne na efane abedwoku awowo a wototo oye asrafo a mampanyin mahama yi won da won bedi dwuma fombo manga no ene da wototo won ano ewo ho na yewra oye kezalato force na oye edom kasemba da no nyi ewo omanga na embreche bedwomufie ono eso ekopo mu wo bi o se na ono na mampanyin mahama wa pa on de oye swafo bosho manga na yeniska wonsam dom enti wototo na no mu no ena wobisa na asanfa e-levy wonsam na wobisa de atofos nei eba e-levy no iba de pa na obe na vuo wa ma mewuro hwan e-levy time na ye wo opposition na me ye dom kumafo no bada no nyino wodreba no ye so ejina kete de ye mpene mo mfa e-levy ne mba ye mpene da wa ye ne da ye mfa mo mfa e-levy ne ba nanso na yinyitumi biara yinyitumi biara wodo enti yetan ye kan yana je kan me beka bia no so wankosi aga emi levy bay enti onyende nde yara ma ba ye majority of parliament and ma be dom Kasebo parliament be shebedwum fie na motumi no ono ncha da motumi ntimo so mbeji levy atmo so da bi nyame ya adom na se mpemfo gine tum no ba ye soafo abohwoman Ghana yene sika wonsam do za no do ba ono no e-levy ne de or the second work tum na we twum tintantan obeye wo o ma e-levy ne po chede entinis ne po man Ghana ha obayo obokune afiase kra enkati e-levy po nan kan wo mani mu asene ndefo popola ye ndefo aha ene edue no 120 days ne mu no obohwe na we de e-levy ne fo.
I do not intend to run from it. I've written articles against the e-levy. I championed opposition against e-levy. I still stand by them. The chairman, the e-levy is neither a direct tax, indirect tax or an excise tax. I don't know how to classify the e-levy as a tax practitioner. Mr. Chairman, it doesn't mean that I do not recognize that the e-levy brings in certain revenue. But the fact remains that the e-levy retards our progress towards a cash-light economy and the fintech. We need to abolish the e-levy. I have said, and I'm on record to have said, that given the opportunity to abolish the e-levy. I want to restate that position, that if approved as part of the first budget, I'll be privileged and I will announce that we will abolish the e-levy as part of our first budget, recognizing my earlier stance and the commitment that His Excellency the President Mahama said that as part of our 120 days agenda, we will abolish the e-levy. We stand by that, and I can assure you the e-levy will go within the 120 days calendar that we've announced. Thank you.
Enti yewra kezela to forson ono ena etenenkano na the medumedikro na se arokopu mu appointment committee fu na enyim no ena so akase na ochem dem wo afi apime bi na eduno anan won manifesto no mu no wo bonto na den wo kado wo de oye to but baba roto so basanda babiem wo kan na gana fodwo na wuntumi nye ebe wori be wo be ya pa na August na ochem de Ghana man panyin da yewura na nado danko ekofu ado na ben mu no ena oyi de meto butu fi wo ena odi e-levy edbe be hyem de oboboa pa na wokwaye mefese kasa metumi akoye nanso okowie ase no afi boko na ewie na man panyin da maham man panyin da ekufu ado na memboko na ewie no ena okedo odi to butu sana bebiem enso urukotu mechebe jomufu na enyim no wanje antum enti endei ono kezela to force wa pound day omo sho man Ghana ye niska ho ensam do no ebe wori be bo hwe na waye ne wungwan emfemfi da me to butu no ho da na mumbazi wode baba.
The previous government indeed removed the road toll, but getting to the end, they signaled that road toll is coming back. Mr. Chairman, they submitted to Parliament, it was not laid, a concession agreement with a company to reintroduce the road tolls. I have a copy. Mr. Chairman, the NDC indicated from day one that the road toll will come back. We are not running away from it. In fact, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, at the time, the minority leader, said that the NDC promises to bring back the road toll. The Hansard will bear us out. We have not run away from that fact. So, I can assure you, we are a party that sticks to our promises. And whatever we have promised to do, we'll do just that. If the road toll is a way to raise revenue, we'll raise the revenue. And the road toll, if you use the road, you have to pay a toll. And it's all over the world. Ghana won't be the first country, won't be the last one. You have to contribute towards the road maintenance. And so the only thing is we have to collect the revenue effectively and efficiently so that we can plow it towards the maintenance of those roads.
Yentu ade na yedahu ewo appointment committee fu woni ensemu no ne vet ni okodo de yada ehwa na yedahu yegina ma abra adwumedi no rekodo no ena oye edom kuma hwan embada no nyi yeonimiafo Alexander Kwamina Afenyo Markin obisa oye yewura Dr. Kezar Atoba Forson obisa nde mure ma munuanwa ma mukromfant nyonyo ye nyina da yefi oye simpa winiba ye nyina finfim antam na yefi enti ono de asem ye mebi so de oye asem gete binti ma no asem se eshoma oye 24-hour economy oye ada wa banka do de baba NDC aban so the 24-hour economy odeba eno obi sande ye weni problem mo man Ghana ha sabe tabeta freche School na wankobi. What 24-hour economy? What 24-hour economy? Now 24-hour economy. I want to say yeah. Swap where you there say yeah. You to my baba yeah. Swap for what your mind gonna who's coming some of the no. Say yeah. 24-hour economy. It will make a classroom. We be so question yano. In you maybe yano by force. And a year case a lot of force. What told the man? Alexander for your mic not to force no. No see yano. What is 24-hour economy? Change more the money.
So, just for the ordinary Ghanaian, what is a 24-hour economy? Just for the ordinary Ghanaian to understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I need the explanation of 24-hour economy from you.
Mr. Chairman, simple put, a 24-hour economy is an economy where the rest sectors of the economy doesn't sleep. The rest sectors of the economy doesn't sleep. For example, we have a mining sector, don't we? We want to see where the mining sector does not sleep, as against a situation where the mining sector, for example, does 12 hours and go to bed. The benefits of light electricity, they should be able to work 24 hours. And many other sectors. Have the hydrocarbon sector. You have the entire agriculture value chain. It's not just going to farm, but after farm, the produce must go to a warehouse. And you have to, obviously, process it into agribusiness. And so we don't want the value chain to go to sleep. We believe that if implemented properly, we'll be able to increase the workforce. And we've said one job, just like we have now, can end up employing 3. So 24-hour economy is a structure where we'll end up implementing a 3 shift for the economy and going forward, bring out productivity.
Ana yera Alexander afyoma kibise no na kidra to force we na no. Ena obi san 24-hour economy ho nsem na okan. Enti wa chache mo se oye bia a chede. Enwuma bi mo wonda. Enwo no ikwa no pa. Ekwa no pa no twa. One no kro na apun na nko na apuna iya aba no nko no ekosi no nsia so puna iba no nsia na no so apunu anajofa so puna de odidim dama na yedre koye ne enem motwa ensam no do amo yeda ho ewo appointment committee and minister designated for one vet ne mom na oya dwumedi na se na yewra Dr. K3SE to force was son so be send bi mu dem ebane free senior high school and sheben and this aban no owo edema oman Ghana na yewra K3SE to force sim and one aba no free senior high school no wo be sheni ye want to some broom. Us one traffic lights now fan traffic lights. Red means stop, yellow means get ready, green means go and go no when ye be. There be. What best is sending ye come. Ghana funa work kade hem NDC abang ba obucho free senior high school no also obolata. Fantini se bolata each of these are with some in trunkotin in yada ye be butcher free senior high school ye mama no ebe ye ba ne be shemokina na free senior high school wetu mesipi esita oyo bossa Ghana man panyin ye ra Yohane Dramani Mahama wa she Ghana fo inte ebe body be dey wo be shemokina na wa mo gina ye papa ewo oman Ghana.
Promise that you will extend it to the private secondary schools. You are going to be a major advisor to government. Have you planned? Do you have a plan as to the number of students in the private secondary schools? And if so, have you looked at the cost?
Mr. Chairman, the number of students in the private school as at yesterday cannot be the same as today. It moves. So whatever target or whatever costing that was done with the data as at the time they did assessment. I was not part of the group that did assessment. Today, we are in office. You need to look at the data, the number of people concerned, and how much you are paying. Let's get to office. The president is only 2 weeks, it's less than 2 weeks old, it's 1 week old. Let's get to the office, and then we can start work. There's no minister at post as we speak. And so you need to help the president to constitute his cabinet as soon as possible so that they can advise him for him to come to parliament to deliver his State of the Nation address. Thank you.
So, the private secondary schools that you propose to extend free SHS to is going to include Ghana International School, Lincoln, Association, because all these are private schools, secondary schools. Are you going to include them?
Did we mention them? Well, the nominee is capable of answering the question. Other than that, private school is private school.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware that Ghana International Lincoln undertakes WASI. They don't write WASI. I'm not aware. I'm not aware that Ghana International School goes through West Africa Examination Council. They do GSC, GCSEs and A-levels and others. I'm not aware that you can equate Lincoln with a school fees of $30,000 to Achimota School. I'm not aware of that. The chairman, let's get to work. And when we get there, we'll present to this House a comprehensive program. The chairman, the previous administration was unable to pass the free SHS bill. You are aware of that. And Chairman, we will regulate this free senior high school policy properly to make it sustainable, so that it becomes part of our nation's development. I think His Excellency the President has made this pronouncement, and so we'll do what we have to do. The Honorable Minority Leader knows me well, that I'm a man of my word, and I can give him that assurance that whatever it takes, we'll come to this House and seek your approval.
Yantwa Kasebo no do na yemfa yenwen trensa fufrumu Yera Samuel Okujato ablakwa ono eka oye operation recover all loot ekuru home na prempem no kase was when you achemu ewo aban eja paze ahodowa amanfo binim age abodo na wokupoemu ewo home na embia kokupoemu ebi dubia center agric mechanization lands Labadi Beach Hotel La Trade Fair and afen so oye Bulgarian embassy na webubu no wokro hon so wokupoemu so wo Northern Development Authority land afe anonso cantonment na wakasa wochem dem oye dubia center no oye de me oral team no wo hwenim no bapa oye national security form emokopoemu ewo ho mesbobo ho ban na wa ma asomdwe na bambo semetuma ye den ewo ho osana nansen yare oye asoyo hwene nsrahwe wonsam do Ministry of Tourism enwono wone adeshi ebinum wo case enwa na onya kura Yera Samuel Okujato ablakwa ono enodi ikui enim.
This became the latest state capture victim, where the SWAL government descended upon this place, removed the roofs, evicted those who were here, and a number of people are affected, not only the agric mechanization staff. NVTI, you saw that NVTI has also been asked to relocate. They have had their roofs, portions have been removed. We keep hearing the name Clement Jato, and that is the same person who the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has been engaging to carry out the so-called redevelopment.
Actually, we are attachment to agric mechanization. We've been working here since over 35 years. The place be given to us with MOFA and the Ministry of Trade because we are the exporters group in Ghana. So
Anti ono enye na yanko asante mantomu Asantini otumfu osetutu autodu ebien ono enam prempen odin sama hudrubi akwama World Bank metre ewiasi na sikakrabia batan kasokor and was it akwama one worker one a day oye azawori adapwa eban mobility solutions awo asantimantem no obese won pa wamo wonye hal
a vibrant city, population-wise, everything-wise, the commercial hub of Ghana. And so looking at the project that you're suggesting, rapid transport, and having chosen that. I know JICA started with a feasibility some time ago, and then it's developed to the World Bank here where we can then put it to fruition. It's been on the drawing board for some time, 2015 and all that. The bureaucracy is something that I don't like at all. And therefore, we have to push it now. The population has increased very much. We have all these transport vehicles, different ones all moving, fighting for space. And that doesn't help with the economic development of the city at all, because if you calculate in terms of how many hours that it costs to do business, in terms of diesel, petrol and all those things, you find that it's costing the economy so much. I don't know what is, the country director can tell, I don't know what has delayed this, but the project office, we should own it. It should be here. The project shouldn't be running from Accra when you have a project in Kumasi. The project unit should be here, and the project coordinator must also be resident here, so that at least the stakeholders, the district assemblies, will be able to coordinate with them to know how it goes. So these are issues that I want us to look at properly to bring it to fruition. I cannot depend.
Abusia enti asantini otumfu osei tutu autodo ebien ena eti nenkano ma yansayin nechu na yanko oman Ghana yane embreshe bedwemufie na wo appointment committee evet norukodo ewo hono ena yewura John Abdullahi Jinapo ono ena wey ni dem obeye swafo bosho oman Ghana yane enam kane ho nsamodo na abroko premu hono na okasa na orichem dem wo afi apime bi na du esonu mu August bosome dot do eduasa ko 31st August 2017 mu no na Ghana yene enam kane no ekawo yede no oye ga abrochi dollars no billion no ebie na chipop ekor 2.1 billion US dollars on the mabinu mu no na oyo manpanyin mahama ena owoto na August no chem de abron wuri fi office no another Ghana photo abeti NDC amayoku no wuri fi office no mu no na the make no the 2.1 billion US dollars now so ashe oye ende de yara ende de kosia de yare otwomiyar no ashe masesi ano inam kane account no wa bebodu abochi dollars no billion e baasa 3 billion US dollars ena sika no akwakoduru a ochem de yenim pa na yereko yanhwe krampa account no obobrodam.
When we were leaving office, the debt stock consolidated was close to 2 billion. Fortunately, I have a document summary of energy sector debts and lenders. In August 31st, 2017, the ESLA PLC got a full audit of the entire energy sector debts. And Mr. Chairman, I refer to page 17 of the document. The total energy sector liability at the time was 9.4 billion cedis. They themselves used an exchange rate of 4.4. If you use this exchange rate of 4.4, the debt had then moved from about 2 billion to 2.1 billion. So let me put on record that as at this time when the debt was validated, the debt was 2.1 billion. Mr. Chairman, with the greatest of respect, I'm happy this question has come up because I've heard some people bundling figures of $5 billion. That is inaccurate. This public record is before Parliament and can be verified. Currently, I had the opportunity to chair the Energy Subcommittee of the transition team. At the last meeting, it came to light that the debt had ballooned to 2.5 billion as of 30th September 2024. Yesterday, we had a final meeting, and the reconciled figures, as I had it, was $3 billion. And so, as we speak today, the official figure I got from the Ministry of Energy, the Energy Commission, and ECG indicates that the debt has ballooned to $3 billion. But let me quickly add that the Energy Sector Levies Act raked in about 45 billion cedis. And so that paid part of the interest on the principal of 9.4 billion. But then comes to that.
Mr. Chairman.
Abusua yadamu awo yewra Abdullahi Junapo nansan samni mara na dwumedi no mu biomu no ena obesande says ya beye afi apime bi ne dunu kunu mu no ena tema oyo refinery no wode kaladu tum kronkronkron ne mu egu ajogoje na tade onhya da anya dwuma pepe biada ibaze pa na wankasa Abu Junapo Abdullahi Junapo ebe ye eda aboa ema tema oyo refinery no wejina yosu hu ebe ni freni bottle be ba da na nche de engine bibi do mara metina echi ni na no metim de safi endi same yokidi nkunye na wapam na meye energy minister mo menye shai sha kro se si a wan ne dai ya shota ma ya refinery bebe wekodu na yenye ska pudro bi pa na yetum de Kenyan na ye ka zika ye kan wasemi oye abrochi oye won pounds million pounds no oye ahebien eduenum 250 million pounds and wonya wode Kenyan oye tama oye refinery na enwuma fugu se we ya he so 700 no usa enta won se de yedi gwa akwem na ya hwede ye boboa na ne yina etum aboa na wogina oye Ghana Petroleum Revenue Management Act. Them act na watem them. Also there crude oil or amanga na sa watona. Order wuchia water to National Petroleum Fund mu. No bua na watum this says maybe now so okay baby today. Adna kwa buachi bidin. Irifa ni irifa epo ya to ye na mfu nyina na bi before. Entine shedi odibiagwa akwan mu pa.
One question, please.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable nominee, my good friend, this is from the good people of Tamacentra and the management and staff of TOR. A direct question. What is there for TOR? And also, we do extract crude, but yet we have refining corporations here, and they are begging for certain parcels to be given to them, whilst they go out to struggle for $1. What is the way forward? Thank you.
Well, honorable member, is your question saying what is there for TOR or what he intends to do for TOR?
The plan. He understands it.
No, but we also want to understand.
Honorable nominee, you may answer the question the way you understand it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members, you may be aware there's a Petroleum Revenue Management Act. And when you take crude within a stipulated period of time, you have to pay the money into the Petroleum Holding Fund. So for a refinery to take that refinery must satisfy that condition. TOR is a hydra-headed problem. It's a 45,000 barrel capacity refinery. The norm is that these days people are moving to huge refineries. If you take Gamnaja, it's I think 1.2 million. Dangote is 650,000, and it's even number 7. So 45 is quite small, but our objective is to seek a strategic partner, ring fence the liabilities, and then use the assets as our capital injection and look for a strategic partner who is prepared to also inject some money. Normally, you need a staff of about 250 for such a refinery. Currently, the staff are over 700. So these are issues that we'll have to sit and see how we can deal with them so that we'll bring the refinery back. Because since 2021, 4 years now, the
NTA Owura Abdullahi Junapo Yɛmfa Kasebo no nkɔwie ɛwɔ nankasa ne nsɛm biam na abroko pemu ɛwɔ abadwokufu wɔ n'enyim wɔ na no ɛna wo bi sɛndɛ sesia no ɛba na nyinam kane ho nsansama ɛyɛ ne dan na ɔsehwɛ ɛba ne so sosen ɛdema ECG a Obosha de one ankrankred maku bi behyem because osande odru baby pa ebehia de ankrankred makufu bi no wadu wo behyem bi na waboa ma adnare ye no wetuma akwantantam onka chat enti na so ordinary edisam edutugwa.
Honorable nominee, listening to your answer to Dr. Kabiru's question, the impression you create on our minds is that you are not against the privatization of ECG. From what you said, you are against the PDS in terms of the approach. So can you tell us then whether your government is for the privatization, the full privatization of ECG?
We believe that they should be. Go ahead. Thank you, Chairman. We believe there should be private sector participation. What we intend to do is to form a 7-member committee chaired by technical experts, legal experts, financial experts, and some industry players, and even somebody from the consumer side. What we want them to do is to get us a framework, looking at best practices. Would the concession approach work or a full privatization work? We will stay off as politicians, let them get a framework in a more transparent, open, frank manner. Then when we get a buy-in of Ghanaians, then we can set the standards using an RFQ, an RFP, and then a competitive tender process. Let me make this clear. We are not going to do sole sourcing when it comes to the ECG private sector participation. Competitive tender process with some element of private sector participation using local content, and then we set the KPIs so we make progress. And so we
John Abudulai Jinapo ono ena ete nenkano Ochechen semi jempe inofo efani enam kania ho ensansam no Abusua aha ena embrono bamakwan mamaze Abusua kase Akan Kasebo no medi ebesi Amon Asadan Koma Big Family Multimedia Institute BFM Store Trustees Network Group N1 and a wobo mechudom Mamad Nsemi Medebadano and the Evia Berry. The